What up, peeps? Tony Baker here, back with another movie review. This time I'm reviewing the movie Weapons. All right, Weapons is the latest movie from writer-director Zach Cregger. I hope I said his name right. Let me double check. Zach Cregger, or it could be Krieger. I think it's Cregger. He also brought us Barbarian. I don't know if y'all saw that movie, but if you haven't, check out my review of Barbarian. It's on this page. I reviewed it, and that movie was a trip. So he's back with Weapons, and I heard Jordan Peele was pissed because he really wanted this movie, and his management fumbled on it. So he's like, "Man, I'm parting ways." That's how pissed he was. This movie is a trip, man. The premise is crazy. I avoided all trailers before I watched this, and this review might have slight spoilers in there, but I'm not going full spoiler because I want y'all to just check it out for yourself. I might go. It's gonna be partial spoilers, so just do with that what you will. It's essentially about one day there's a classroom, and all but one of the kids, so 17 kids, at night around 2:17 a.m., they run out of their front door, never to be seen again. They don't come back, and they all just run out same time, and they just run out like this, out of the house. And of course the families are just devastated. Why was there only one student left in the class? And the teacher came in and was like, it was just one student in there. And she was just like, what the hell? So you could imagine the kind of storm that could, lead to. Like, where are our kids at? And then you got questions like, yo, teacher, what was going on in my class? Are you in on this? What's going on? Why is this little boy the only one left? What is happening? I couldn't imagine being in this situation. But the kids nowhere to be found. So the movie is about the unraveling of, the teacher played by Julie Garner, who plays Justine. She's the teacher. And she wants answers too. Also, she's battling with alcoholism and the town is looking at her like, yo, man, you in on this. Especially one of the parents named Archer, played by Josh Brolin. He's like, yo, man, I want to hear from her. Where my son at, man? So you can imagine, we want answers. She's just trying to deal with that. The principal is trying to keep everything together, played by Benedict Wong. She's also dealing with a troubled cop named Paul. They got a little something going on. Well, they had a little something going on. And it's kind of, what I'm saying? So she's just trying to cling to at least somebody that's not rejecting her in the community. And, she's just stressed out about that. But she also wants to talk to the boy that was in the classroom. They're like, nah, don't talk to that boy. But let me talk to him just so I can get a sense of, what's going on, how he's doing. Like, nah, man, you already be hugging the kids too much, man. You're doing too much with these kids. And so you got all of these things. So the whole movie, you're trying to unravel, yo, where did these kids go? And surprisingly, a movie with this type of subject matter, I thought it was going to be super heavy and super just but this movie has several different tones in it. It's got drama, it's got really thriller type scenarios, horror, and comedy. Some of the parts of the movie are really funny. And it's like, wow, there's so many different emotions going through watching this movie. And I'm just like, yo, this is a great experience. And I feel like Zach Krieger, he has a background in comedy. He had a little improv troupe, similar to the not as extensive as what Jordan Peele was doing with Key and Peele and Mad TV, but it's I'm really liking this thing of artists that start out in humor and then they transition into horror. Man, it's really working for me because they know how to hit some certain beats that a straight up horror director might not hit, and it feels less generic. Watching this movie, watching everything unravel, the character development, and they're showing you different perspectives of different characters throughout the film. You see it from Justine's perspective, then you see it from Archer's perspective, then you see it from Paul's perspective, and then you see it from James' perspective, and then you see it from the perspective of the principal. So, and then you see it from the perspective of the one boy that didn't disappear. So I thought that was a very his name was Alex, by the way, and the kid that played Alex did a phenomenal job. And I feel like that was an interesting angle. And I was just like, yo, this is dope how they're presenting everything. What I also like about this movie, there are some vague themes on, okay, why did the kids all run away at 2:17 a.m.? What does the 217 represent from a writing standpoint? You know what I'm saying? Some people think, oh, it represents Matthew 2:17 in the New Testament about the slaughter of the innocents. And then some people are like, no, it's a reference on, The Shining, the room 230 something. The Shining, he's paying homage to that. And he really won't give us like a set like, yo, the time represents this. He's playing it well. You kind of want to, as a filmmaker, you kind of want people to just create their own answers. Because when you lay it all out, then people won't talk as much. They'll be like, no, oh, well then, well, all right. They represented, that was the time, that was the date when he lost a close family member. And then we're no longer talking about it. But if you leave it vague, if you leave it open to interpretation, people are always talking about your movie. And I think it's genius. So we really don't know what the 217 really represented. But what I like about this movie is that, and what he kind of did with Barbarian, he introduces another element later on in the film. You think it's going one way, and then the element comes out in the later half of the film. You're just like, oh, that's what's going on. So we're introduced to Aunt Gladys. And Aunt Gladys is played by Amy Madigan. You might remember Amy Madigan from the movie Uncle Buck. She was Uncle Buck's girlfriend. I haven't seen her in mad long. And I was looking at her and I was just like, she looked crazy in this, by the way. The makeup, the whole visual. The whole visual is just crazy. And I'm just like, yo, I haven't seen her in mad long. And once the Aunt Gladys shows up and we find out about Aunt Gladys, you just like, oh, man. So apparently she's a parasitic witch. So she's feeding off the life force of others. And she needs to subdue them so she can feed off their energy to make her younger. So we don't know how old she is, how long she's been around. Is she really their aunt? What's really going on? So that bleeds into the kids and what happened to the kids. And so you got all these different characters converging, and it was just dope. I really don't want to give you the full spoiler review because I feel like y'all should just check it out and see it for yourself. It's one of those movies you got to see for yourself. And I went in there blind. I was just like, all right, kids are doing something crazy, and I just went in with that. So it was just absolutely refreshing to see a movie like this, and I had a great time. The theater was cold, I will say that, but the characters, the point of view from the different characters, I didn't know how it was going to end. It was a real funny moment at the end. I was just like, yo, this is crazy that we laughing at this, and it just took us to this place. For that, I got to give the film props, man. It was just an enjoyable experience at the movie theater. And this summer's been cool, but it's been kind of dry. So this is a nice shot in the arm for the summer movie, viewing experience, if you will. But forget all that, man. You want to know the smooth jazz review of Weapons. Well, here it is. Oh, yeah. I'm giving Weapons. I'm going to give it 4.5 saxophones out of 5, man. I ain't got too much bad to say about it, man. It was a good time. I didn't know what was going to happen. I was dialed in the whole time. The ending, there were some vague moments in there, but overall I felt like I understood everything. There was nothing too vague or too man, what did that represent? I had a few questions, but not too many. And I just felt a sense of closure at the end. So, man, that's all I asked for, man. Close me up. And I felt like I got the closure I needed, man. You know what I'm saying? But what would you do if your kids ran out the house? 2:17 a.m. They just running with their arms by their side, man. I won't answer. All right, peeps, that's my review of Weapons. Let me know what you thought of the movie in the comment section below. Also, what did you think of the movie Barbarian? Let me know. And also, what do you think about directors transitioning from comedy to horror, man? I feel like they hitting it out the park, man. But let me know. And let me know if you know of other movies that were, horror movies that were done by people that started in comedy, man. Hit me with the list, man, and I'll go check it out, man. Thank you, man. Don't forget to like, share, and subscribe. And as usual, we out here.